In the meantime, if you want to share your name and what school you're from in the chat, we'd love to see them.
There's a person from Idaho. People I know, yes. Alrighty, well, I guess we can kind of just start moving through. So, welcome everyone to the Revive membership session. We're so excited to have you guys here. We don't have any pizza, but I think that this presentation is pretty fantastic anyways, so you could just have that instead. But we'll go ahead and introduce ourselves so you guys can get an idea of who we are, starting with Marcel.
Hi everyone, I'm Marcel Asha, your incoming Middle East ambassador, and I recently graduated from the Holy Spirit University of Kaslik in Lebanon with a master's degree. I'm so excited for this session.
And I'm Nicholas. I am the current and outgoing West Quad director, and I went to the University of Mexico and I graduated about a year ago, and so I'm a real working person these days.
And hi, everybody. My name is Julia Andor. I'm the incoming Northeast Quad Director, and I'm from the New York Institute of Technology on Long Island. And I think Nick is going to start us off.
So I know everyone's favorite thing in the entire world to do is an icebreaker, but I promise this one's actually really easy. So we actually have a Mentimeter activity. And so here is a QR code. And then actually, if you go to menti.com and use the code, this code specifically, which we'll drop in the chat, you can actually participate in this. We're kind of get to know you guys a little bit better. So if you can go ahead and share.
All right, so we're going to do a little bit of a word cloud. If you guys don't mind, right at the top here is the numbers to join, and we can copy and paste this link into the chat for everybody to access as well. And we'd love to see why you guys are involved in the AIS to start off the session. So we'll give it a second and let everybody put their answers in. Right now, it looks like the biggest one is community, which I'm very excited about.
There's definitely no wrong answer. I think everyone's kind of here for a different purpose that kind of fulfills what they're looking for. So just keep doing it. I personally love the community one. I definitely, back when I was running for this role, I think I talked about it a little bit in my speech, but I think AIS has a really good community aspect to it, which is really cool. Mentorship. If you guys don't know, we actually have a mentorship program within the AIS called AMP, the Alumni Mentorship Program. Soon to be camp. Yes, Shannon, you're right. That was my bad.
Awesome. Maybe we'll move on to the next one now. I can figure out how to do it. Awesome. So then we just wanted to hear a little bit from you guys about things that your specific chapters do to grow their membership. Ooh, looks like people are interested in licensure and NCARB. That's always good. I see a good
Pizza.
back to school barbecue. We
Stop.
love social events. Pizza. We can't get away from the pizza, but that's okay.
I mean, pizza's pretty great though, right?
Firm tours, connections with peers, conversations. We love a good mentorship program. We do.
Yeah, speaking of social media, you can guys share your chapter accounts in the chat so you can follow each other.
It's a good idea, Marcel. Awesome. There's definitely a lot of great ideas on the screen. So if anybody is looking to grow its membership a little bit, definitely take note of what the other chapters are doing also. People love free food and drink. That's very true.
There's definitely a lot of different ways to grow your membership. It's kind of wild, actually.
It is.
I think the fun part about this is that I mean, I know when I was a chapter president, there's things in this list that I guess we would just never really like explored as an option of getting more members or even events and whatnot. So it's actually kind of interesting to see the other things you could do at your own local level. It's pretty cool.
So I think we'll stop this here, but the conversation definitely does not stop here. So keep all these things in mind.
All right, and then let me share my screen again.
I'm loving the vibe so far.
All righty, well, Julia, do you want to go ahead and introduce this first
Sure.
section?
So our first section is what is an AIS member? So maybe I should pose my question to Marcel because I think she has a lot of the answers for us.
Sure, let's go. So yes, guys, you heard it right. What is an AIS member? And this is a question we frequently hear when promoting our membership. Well, don't worry, we're not going to answer it tonight in a traditional way. So everyone, imagine with me that a group of people were invited to a birthday party, our organization. And yes, everyone is invited because in our AIS bylaws, it is stated that no member may be excluded from membership on the basis of race, sex, religion, disability, national origin, or sexual orientation. So are you excited as I am to introduce you to the attendees of this birthday party? Okay, let's go ahead. So the first one would be someone who came for the benefits because simply the AIS members are better equipped. And yeah, this person came for the food and stayed for the party because it turns out to be a memorable experience. The second person would be someone who came for the reputation. I know adding AIS next to your name is something tempting, but actually the AIS makes our campus life better. So these people tend to show off, but never show up to our events. Bad for them. The third person would be, drum rolls, someone who came for the network. Yeah, because their friends are actually in the AIS, so why not? But the good thing is that the AIS is much more than a club. And here's the thing. It's because you make friends at the AIS, you get introduced to professionals, and even you can benefit from the experience of your peers. For example, having someone from the last year sharing some thoughts about their FYP, or someone in their first year struggling a bit with their dues because, you know, they are not used to that. So yeah, this is where all of these conversations happen. The fourth person now would be someone who came for the whole experience because, you know, these people came here to give, to receive, and outstandingly be them, and not only for the benefits or the network. Yeah, they came for the whole experience. And as you can see in the poster, the AIS is more and will always remain more. And finally, we also have among our attendees, someone who came to see what's going on, the non-members or the +1, should I call them. And they probably heard about the AIS from someone already a member in the organization, or even a friend. They might be on social media and saw a certain poster, or even served on the AIS website. But most importantly, they might be coming across an event at school and just want to see what's going on and what is it like to be part of the wolf pack. And this leads us to another question regarding AIS membership. Why is it important?
I think, for one thing, I think everyone's reason of being in AIS is very different. And I think that something that AIS does well is that we have something for everyone. There's no one reason to be a part of AIS. And I think that's what kind of makes it so special. And you can kind of distill it down to a couple of things, such as national programming, competitions, networking, professional development, leadership, and benefits. And so to kind of look into that a little bit further, specifically, we'll start with national programming. You're able to it's important to be a part of AIS because you actually get access to the conferences such as Grassroots Forum and Quad conferences. We have a ton of webinars throughout the entire year put on through committees. And then we also have just great panel discussions that you can hear about just real world stuff that's kind of going on and just kind of what's happening in the profession or even just in schools. Another thing that you get out of it is you get competitions, and most of them pretty much have a cash prize, such as the In-Studio Made competition, In-Studio Portfolio, In-Studio Render and Sketch competitions, and there's so many more. And then we also have Crit Scholar, and we have a whole scholarships page if you actually didn't know about it, and it's on the website. Another thing is that it's a great networking opportunity, both on the local level through your components, and as well as the national level. In the local level, you're looking at your chapter events, the fun stuff, the professional development events, the chapter collaborations with other organizations, that kind of stuff. The component-wise, you're looking at your AIA chapter, your other local AIS chapters, or just other organizations in general. And then nationally, you actually get to attend a lot of the national programming, which is a great way to actually network and meet people that are very like-minded with you. As we keep going, professional development, AIS, if you don't know, also has a ton of committees that you can also participate on and kind of get more involved within the organization. You get a lot of interaction with AIA components. There's tons of firm calls at the local level. Even at our conferences themselves, there are also firm calls where you actually get to go and see a couple of the firms, which is super exciting. Of course, we have tons of workshop, and they can be based around programs, just various topics. And of course, we also have career guides. You also get there's a strong leadership that kind of comes with being with AIS, and whether that's serving on leadership roles at your local chapter or at AIS the national office. You get a lot of this leadership kind of comes from running your events, running a board, your advocacy, freedom by design, fundraising, to kind of name a few. But there's such a great strong leadership skill that you're able to get from being an AIS member. And then lastly, we have the benefits. And so we've actually, a few of the sessions before have actually mentioned it, but there's a lot of benefits with being an AIS member, and there's actually a page dedicated to that. And of course, you get that in your welcome email. And then there's a lot of the other benefits that you get are on the local level. So those are the events that you're actually throwing, at your schools, and kind of including all kinds of students from all different backgrounds into these events. And then, of course, we also have tons of guides and resources on the website that you are able to use at your disposal. And without further ado, we'll pass it on to Julia. And the next question is how to grow your membership.
Hi, everybody. So we're just going to give it a second to look at that amazing meme. If anybody didn't see it, fantastic. But moving on from that, a lot of you are probably here to talk about how to grow your own chapters. So we just want to acknowledge before we get into this section that growing your membership is really hard work. And the organization's greatest asset is its members and the students. So thank you for all that you do to grow your membership and all you do to run your chapters. We're very thankful and happy to have you here. So the question remains, how do you grow your members? The answer is very different for schools, for every different school, but most find success with a combination of professional development and social events. Like Nick mentioned earlier, the AIS is very versatile, so you really can make your chapter anything you want. The most important thing that you can do is listen to your members, and we'll talk about that a little bit more specifically. Awesome. So the first thing we have on here is to know your why. What does the AIS mean to you? That's what we talked about at the beginning of this meeting. So just keep in mind that word cloud that we took a look at. And what does it mean to your members? You know, taking a step back of why are you in the AIS really helps explaining the value of the organization when you're discussing it with others. Number 2 is to create a community. You want to make sure that you and your chapter are focusing on what's important to you, what's important to your board, and to the students at your school. So creating a space for meaningful events and conversations will make sure that the members follow. The third thing we have on here is to get feedback. You want to make sure, like we mentioned a few times, to discuss with your members and discuss with the students at your school what they want to see from the AIS and what the AIS means to them. The fourth thing is to ask your school or your local AIA for support. So one of the biggest barriers to access any organization may be a membership due. So if you ask your local AIA or you ask your school administration to support your chapter and maybe give you some money to raffle off memberships, that's always been very successful for my chapter, or sponsor a few students, however they may see fit, that definitely will go a long way in helping students. The AIS also has membership grants, which we have linked on our resource page. So that'll be in a couple slides from now as well. The next thing is to discuss value and keep in mind all the value and benefits that Nick mentioned earlier. And we did also want to acknowledge that the AIS is really dedicated to increasing its benefits and making sure that the AIS is doing as much as we possibly can for our members. And that has been an ongoing conversation in the national office of what do people want to see from their AIS membership? And that kind of leads me into my final point, to give feedback, because we want to hear from you guys about what you want to see from your AIS memberships and what your members and the students at your school are telling you they want to see from the AIS memberships. And that's what we want to make sure that we can do for you. So that also leads me into our next slide. We'll be doing a little bit of a Miro activity and breaking out into breakout rooms to discuss what your experience has been with AIS and AIS membership so far, and what you and people at your school may want to see in the future. So with that being said, we're going to drop that link right in the chat and split up into breakout rooms. So everybody should be able to join and just pick some of the sticky notes on there. And then we'll come back into this room. If you can select one person to represent your group and let us know a little bit about what you talked about, that would be awesome. And we can do a little bit of a recap when we get back. Shannon's going to work some magic and put us all in breakout rooms.
Please hold. This has been a wonderful session so far. Alrighty, 1 second. How's everyone's day going? It's been your favorite session so far. Actually, you don't need to say that. That's okay. But I'm.
Thank you, Nicole. That was the only correct answer in the chat. She said this one, in case anyone missed it.
I love Shannon's plant that she has up on like the very top of the windowsill up there. That's so cute.
Cool. I'm going to open this up for the hosts. If I drag you and put you in another room, just go with it, friends. All right.
And for the record,
Before
it's Scott's planned.
I share this room, Larry. Okay. Okay, everyone, go forth and prosper.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Hey, Shannon.
Yes.
It's not giving me the option to join a breakout room. I don't
That's
know why.
totally
I don't know
fine.
if it's I just joined or
No worries. I can
Okay.
assign you to one.
great. Thank you so much.
You got it.
Okay, got it. Thanks.
Perfect. Cool beans. Hey, I put you in that room because it was the only one without someone we had spoken about.
I think Marcel went over there.
Oh,
I met her over there when I got moved.
oh, cool. Okay, so then I'll put you in the room that has almost no one.
Okay, great.
You're gonna go to room 4.
Okay.
If you can you go to room, you can just move yourself because you're a co-host. If you could go to
Okay.
room 4, that would be great. Otherwise, I'll find you in the main
Yep, I
session.
can do it. Cool,
Perfect.
thank you.
You got it.
Voila.
Welcome back, everyone.
While we wait for everybody to come back, how is everybody's day? Good. I see lots of head nods. Thumbs up are good. What a convenient slide that's just appeared on the screen.
I had just messaged you anyways. Well, cool. Well, I hope you guys had fun in that like really quick activity. So so hopefully you guys have all selected a person from each of your breakout rooms to kind of represent you guys. So we'll go basically in order through the different groups that we had and just kind of give a quick recap of like kind of what happened on each of your breakout rooms, the conversations you guys had and whatnot. We can just talk about it. So we'll go ahead and get started with breakout room 1. What'd you guys talk about?
Hi friends, that's me. I think it was interesting because the first question, like, what do you like about our current national benefits? A lot of it was, I thought, geared towards like grad students. Like someone had mentioned the AIA, like 18th month membership. Somebody mentioned the Black Spectacles and PPI for like study materials. And so I like pointedly said like, oh, but what are benefits for people who are just starting in AIS who like might not be ready for taking exams? They're definitely not ready for taking exams. Or like just starting out. And so they were talking about networking, connections with upperclassmen. Some of the things people wrote for how to grow your membership were really fun. Like one person wrote, we take headshots for all of our local chapter members. The other person talked a little bit more about the membership drive that they have with their members. And then I think what I thought was interesting, especially coming out of the pandemic, was like, what are national benefits you'd like to see moving forward? Are a lot of people, I think, talked about more international and just national networking opportunities. And so a lot of that happens in conferences, but then how can we maybe sponsor members to go to conferences or just like alleviate that financial burden?
Cool. Okay, how about group 2?
Hi. So when we talked about national benefits, we talked a lot about the pros of competitions and scholarships and also the AIA collaboration. And then moving forward, we talked a little bit more about maybe some national help with collaboration between other organizations, maybe more on a local level, just getting people in touch with other people, and also possibly travel costs in terms of conferences to make it a little bit more accessible. For partnerships, we do like the NCARB, getting into the professional field, that aspect of it, and also collaborations on a local level. We thought that chapters have done a pretty good job about that so far, but we would like to see more help moving forward. And then we would also want to see more software help, maybe some Adobe things or Rhino or other softwares to make it more accessible for everyone. And in terms of membership, I don't know who said it in group 1, but they're probably from the same chapter, the headshot thing. We also asked the administration to maybe support us by giving us some money to give away memberships. That also helps us a little bit more. And someone also mentioned a membership week with different events, so that's fun. And we would want to see possibly more info sessions to get people more acquainted with the AIS, high schoolers and freshmen, because I feel like sometimes they don't really know what the AIS is, even though we explain it so many times. So I guess the more, the better.
Cool. How about the group 3?
Hello, yes. So we talked about what we liked about like national benefits, such as scholarships, networking, like contacting others, like talking to them, like what we just did. Also discounts on like conferences and competitions. And we also like the partnership with NCARB because it's really important to start getting the ball rolling when you're a freshman, since you don't have the experience enough to start an internship. So it helps building those kind of points. And the types of competitions that are provided, like the in-studio competition is so perfect because you can just turn in what you already have from studio. And we talked about how we try to do like networking and LinkedIn workshops at our own schools and like software workshops and talking to professors to be more involved with our AIS. And a national benefit that we wanted to see moving forward was like maybe discounts on materials, like a partnership with Blick, Hobby Lobby, or Michael's, and like donation of materials, because most of us like have a bunch of stuff that we're not even using. So from like maybe find a way to try and donate our materials to maybe like high schools near us for students who are studying architecture and like trying to afford the materials. And partnerships, like moving forward, we want to connect with like high school and student chapters and better mental health organizations, because architecture is a lot to go through. So having an organization, a mental health organization like help us through it would be really nice. And to help grow membership, we talked about like maybe like each university can send a mass email to all like architecture students to try and get them to join AIAS, because sometimes like with certain universities, they're really like large. So it's hard to find which club to join. So maybe like doing that and having like maybe a how-to guide. So when you join the club, it's much more condensed and easy to explain to the introducing members of AIAS, like what they're getting into.
I definitely love the mental health stuff. Yes, living for it. And also the material thing. I remember spending lots of money on stuff. Anyways, how about group 4?
Hi, yeah. So in terms of like our current national benefits, we talked about how we really liked the current like communication and social media coming from national, as well as the resources that are provided to like the different chapters. And then of course, conferences are a huge plus of like national membership. And then in terms of benefits we wanted to see moving forward, definitely some help with maybe like software, if there's any way to partner and get discounts for software. I know a lot of students would really appreciate that. And then just kind of, again, like the financial burden of getting students to conferences, maybe more grants to help students attend conferences, or maybe just more resources for presidents or people planning to bring students to conferences, where resources for booking flights or maybe getting sponsorships from outside places. So maybe just some more resources on how to do that. And then in terms of partnerships, definitely NCARB and AIA is a huge part, and NOMAS. And then maybe partnerships moving forward, definitely other student organizations, just kind of continuing to strengthen our partnerships with them. And then maybe just a partnership with Adobe, Rhino, or AutoCAD in addition to like tutorials that we do with them. Maybe that kind of partnership could also segue into discounts. And then we had a really great conversation about what our chapters currently did to grow for membership. So some things that were already mentioned, like membership week, and giveaways and sponsorships, definitely social media, and various mentorship programs. And then also bring a friend raffle. So like for a general meeting, maybe having current members, if they bring a friend to that meeting, then they automatically get entered into a raffle, which is like announced at the end of the meeting. And this could just be a really good way to introduce people to the organization and have it be less intimidating because you're with a friend. And then in terms of resources to help grow membership from national, definitely just maybe having more presence and people from national joining for general meetings, just so that we are able to better communicate the benefits of being a member at AIAS in terms of like the national side of things.
Yeah, I definitely agree with a lot of those things. I appreciate that. Thank you. Group 5.
So we talked a bit about of like what everyone else was talking about. We started with the national benefits that we really enjoyed, and it really leaned into more of the professional side. It looks good on a resume, and that it's something to talk about in your interview. But then we also learned that there's a fundraising link that you could send to people, like firms and family that will directly like give the money to your chapter. So that's one way to bring money to you. And then you also get to connect with people across the country. And then some of the things we want to see is a joint membership with organizations like NOMA, where like if you pay for AIS membership, then you're also in NOMA membership. And then also like things with money that like discounted rates for Rhino, maybe like laptops. And then also we want like more awareness of partnerships. We all know there's a lot of information on the website that there is things like the AIS offers, but conveying that to members isn't always easy. So I guess a more direct way to convey that. So I think like what Lauren was saying with having the national join the general meetings might make that a little easier. And then we also talked about having a platform where like the chapters themselves can share information about like event planning and more of the behind the scenes stuff, so they can figure out how things happen. Like you'll see the event on Instagram, but you don't know who they contacted, when, how early, like things like that. So having a connection to chapters in that aspect would really help.
Cool. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate it. Definitely, it's a lot of stuff to kind of keep in mind, I think, moving forward. Group 6.
All right, sorry, we were a little cut off guard by the end of the breakout room, so I'll just jump in. In terms of national benefits, I think we all really appreciated like the network provided by AIAS, not just getting an opportunity to meet, people in similar situations, our colleagues from all across the nation, but also how it connects us to national organizations like NAB or AXA or especially NCARB, which is one that we're very focused on for our current partnerships. It's kind of like just the most intimidating part of being an architecture student. It's such a crazy system to get our license, but we all, thanks to what NCARB is able to provide with their advisors, it kind of really simplifies that for us. Kind of going off of that though, something we'd like to see is more help with licensures, because there's so many different licenses to acquire in the architecture field. And one that we really focused on were all of the kind of environmental focus, things like LEED and Passive House. They're basically course-based licenses. So it would be, we thought, very helpful for something that's becoming so prevalent in our field to kind of expose us to that at a younger age. I mean, obviously, we probably wouldn't be graduating with a full LEED or Passive House license, but some sort of LEED student systems that we could at least get exposure to it. We thought that would be great. And then in terms of growing our membership, there's so many different approaches that everybody takes, but something that I think was huge is going back again with this theme of networking that we've been so focused on, being in contact with our local AIA chapters, being able to do sponsored, what do you call it? Sponsored speeches, lectures. There we go. That's the word. And just providing volunteer opportunities through the FBD, just a ton of opportunities that are really rare in other fields. In architecture, we're able to present these to students and it gets them excited, basically. But other than that, just from the national office, I guess we just wanted to get more recommended events about what other AIS chapters are doing. If there was some sort of like a national database, I guess, of what it is that other chapters are doing to grow their membership, so that we could just go and browse and say, hey, that's a good idea. Maybe we should check that out. So that's about where we are.
Cool. Thank you so much for presenting. All right, last but not least, group 7.
So our group talked about what we liked about the national benefits was mainly the competitions. We thought it was a great way for students to put their work out there, understand what a real competition would look like, and also get to see other students' work and like how other students approach different challenges and stuff. We also liked conferences. So that's a really big plus. Like today, we all learned a lot. Partnerships from the Freedom by Design. We've all had good experience with it, and the relationship with NCARB is great. We had a little brief discussion about some of our growing our memberships was events like trivia night, selling merchandise, and design competitions for it. Movie nights, and just anything to get back out there after COVID was just kind of like thrown around with ideas and stuff. Some of the national benefits we would like to see would be local conferences, more of them with like individual states or like high density cities, just trying to connect with more chapters in the area to see if we can grow the connection that way, as well as same as some other groups had said with NOMAS and AIAS dues either being partnered or discounted together. And some people had mentioned that national dues are somewhat of a barrier in some cases. So that was pretty much it for our group.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I appreciate all of you guys participating with this. I'm definitely seeing a lot of trends between the different groups. So it's good to know that everyone has like the same thought process when it kind of comes to what they're looking for in AIS. Cool. So to keep, I guess, does anyone have any questions moving forward? We are running a little bit low on time, but do you guys have anything you guys want to know? Or I should note that I did write it a little bit later. We did, our group actually did format this entire presentation so you guys can actually use it, and has everything's linked in it. So you can use it as an actual resource at your chapters. You guys should take it back with you and use it again to present and whatnot, and kind of share those resources with your members. But yeah, do you guys have any questions? Hearing none, love it. Marcel, take it away.
Yeah, sure. So I know it was a very fruitful conversation we were having in the breakout rooms, and we want you to continue this conversation, but throughout this QR code you can scan, or you can find it in the chat or either in the resource slide. We decided to prepare a membership form for you guys to share your thoughts with us regarding the AIS membership. So please make sure you drop your thoughts, share the link with your members, your colleagues, and everyone to contribute on it, because as we rely on you, our members, to improve our membership in the AIS, we need to hear about your thoughts and what do you think about our membership so far. So please feel free to contribute whenever you can, not necessarily right now, but keep that in mind and make sure you provide us with what you have on your mind. Yeah, so basically that's it.
I just sent the slides, if you could just ignore that one. Cool. And then let me send you guys the actual thing. So don't leave yet, but I'm going to give you guys the actual PDF for future use. Oh, I just sent it directly to Shannon. I'm living for the drama. I'm gonna try that one more time. There we go. So there's that. And don't forget that we have a little bit of a break between the next session, which is at 4:45 Eastern time, 3:45 Central time, and then 2:45 Mountain time. So you have about a 30-minute break, but we'll see you guys soon. Or if you have any questions, feel free to keep going and whatnot, but yeah.
Thank you all so much for joining.
Thank you, everyone.
In my mouth. Thank you, guys. It was a pleasure speaking with you all.